this is Mitch Rothbardt, and welcome to another one of my video blogs. What I'd like to talk about this week is to expand on the article that I wrote for the Castro Valley Forum and the San Leandro Times, basically about hips, and how I'm finding more and more with people that no matter what their goals are, and no matter what they feel like at the moment, the hips and good, strong, loose hips are really the key to feeling good overall. I'm finding that people with locked up hips, it's going to really start to affect your back, it's going to start to affect your knees, and even all the way up to your shoulders. I've had many clients who have had issues with their backs and their knees, and all I've kind of showed them is basically how to move their hips a little better, and a lot of it's cleared right up. So I want to show you some exercises that will help you move your hips better, that will help you kind of differentiate low back movement from hip movement, because a lot of people, due to the fact that we sit a lot, the hips kind of tighten up, and what happens is your lower back has to kind of compensate, and that's when you start to get some lower back issues. So I'll show you how to kind of differentiate between that, kind of improve your hip movement, and also improve your glute strength and function, which is also very important for good functioning hip movement. So let's get started. Okay, the first exercise I want to talk about is called the waiter's bow. What this is going to show you is basically how to move your hips. It's kind of the basis of just moving your hips from flexion, hip flexion, to hip extension, and kind of taking your lower back out of the movement, because as I just said before, that's kind of a problem a lot of people have. And you'll know you have that problem if you kind of hyperextend when you try to when you try to use your hips. So what you're going to do for a waiter's bow, you're going to get up against the wall, right up against it. Take about a little step back, a step forward, I should say. Take a deep breath into your chest. Hold your chest way up there. Okay, you're going to find a spot just above eye level to look at. I say this a lot, but it's really true. When you keep your head steady with any exercise, it keeps your body steady, keeps your posture steady, and that's what we're kind of looking for. So, chest up. All you're going to do is basically try to touch your butt to the wall. Don't fall into the wall. Just push it back until you hit it. When you come up, I want you to squeeze your glutes right here, right at the end, okay? What this is going to prevent, squeezing your glutes, is prevent this kind of thing, which is back hyperextension, which is not what you want. You want full extension through the hips and take your back out of it again. So, back to the wall, touch your butt to the wall, squeeze your glutes to bring it forward. Back to the wall, squeeze your glutes. Make sure you're not falling into the wall like that. That's not doing anything. So keep that posture and come up. And that's the waiter's bow. Okay? So now what I want to show you is an exercise to help you strengthen the glutes and once again improve that hip function. Okay, the next exercise we're going to do is something called hip extensions. Pretty much every one of my clients do this in some form or another. What this exercise is really meant to do is strengthen the glutes and activate the glutes. We sit a lot, our glutes get kind of what's called gluteal amnesia. They kind of forget how to work. Our glutes are actually a really important muscle group for hip function, to extend them. It's a really important thing, which again keeps your back out of the movement. To kind of explain what that means as far as hip extension and flexion. Hip flexion is when you're sitting down and your hips are back. Hip extension is when your hips are forward. Not hyperextended, so they're too forward, but squeezing the glutes will activate where the hips should be fully extended to, and they're going to kind of stop them there. So this kind of teaches that movement. So all you're going to do is lie on your back, on the floor, put your hands wherever you want, it doesn't even matter. What I want to see is hips coming up. I want to see a kind of a straight line from your shoulders to your knees. You're going to accomplish this by squeezing your glutes, just like that, and back down. So up, hold for a second or two, back down. Up, hold for a second or two, and back down. If you're feeling this in your back, that means that your hips, your glutes are not working. So you need to work on that. If you're feeling this a lot in your hamstrings, it's because your glutes aren't strong enough to kind of compensate for that yet. Your hamstrings are working with this movement, but you want to kind of get it to be mostly a glute movement. So once you kind of get that down, then you kind of progress that by doing one leg at a time. So you'll come back down here, just lift one leg, same thing. And then the other leg. So again, make sure that all that movement is occurring in the glutes. Squeeze the glutes to raise the hips. If you're feeling it in your back, the glutes aren't working hard enough. Okay, I want to finish up just by talking a little bit about why hips are so important. In my article, I liken it to a door hinge and how it's kind of attached to the frame. You know, with the hinge, you know, it kind of sits right in the middle. The door, when the hinge is working, the door goes back and forth very easily. It's kind of nice. When it's not, when the hinge is kind of rusty or offset or something, or a little piece of it's broken, then you kind of have to yank on the door, which kind of pulls on the frame, you know, pulls on the door in ways that it's, you know, doesn't move very well. Your body's the same way. The hips lie right in the middle of our body. When they're working well, we can move back and forth, we can move side to side very easily. It doesn't put any undue pressure. The hips are meant for movement. The low back is not. So that's kind of, you know, where the purpose of that is. So I just kind of want to point out how important that is, and how I'm really seeing that it's really attached to a lot of other things, also with things like hamstring tightness. A lot of people are very tight in their hamstrings, but it's not really hamstrings. It's that their hips are so tight, the hips don't really move very well, which pulls on the hamstrings. So it feels that the hamstrings are tight, but if you are able to move your hips better, it's going to loosen up the hamstrings. There's a lot of things that go on in your body that are related to hips just like that. If you have any questions, if you want to read the article, if you want to have any questions about anything exercise related or your hips or anything like that, you can email me at mitchrfitness@gmail.com. That's mitchrfitness@gmail.com. You can give me a call at 510-754-7113, or you can look at my website for more information as well at just mitchrfitness.com. Hope you're doing well. If you have any questions, let me know. And I will see you later. Thanks for watching.